Hi, my name is Mr. Off Game, and in this video, I'm going to talk about how black men get treated in Japan. This is something that I've never talked about before. However, a lot of people have been asking me about my experiences over the past 10 years living in Japan and visiting Japan and knowing people that still live in Japan to this day. And I never really shared my experiences with anybody because I never really thought anyone really cared. No. But a lot of my nephews and a lot of my friends and a lot of people I'm meeting over the past couple of years really wanted to know, so I wanted to share it in this video. And when I first went to Japan, I was in the Navy. This is back in '96 when I went in the Navy. And I didn't really know what to think before I went to Japan. I didn't know culture. I didn't really know anything. I just maybe saw a couple movies on television. I never knew anyone that went there. Not even the travel. So I was kind of old-minded. I just expected. When I first got there, there was a language barrier. I didn't hard for me to communicate because if you know anything about Japan is like one of the first world countries, if not the only first world country, that don't focus on speaking English very much. Now, of course, there's people there that speak English, but you would think, being that it's a first world country, that they would speak English much better. But that's not the case. And if you go out into the smaller towns outside of Tokyo, you might not have any that speak English. So, but fortunately, I was in an area where it was military, a lot of military personnel, and a lot of American contractors live and stay. So there was a lot of Japanese people that spoke English. They were bilingual. So on that side of town near the military area is pretty cool. So everyone must spoke English in those areas. But if you go outside of Tokyo or outside of the military establishments, you probably won't know anyone else. No one will probably speak English. So it pays to know how to speak Japanese, or at least you don't know how to speak. At least understand. Try to understand at least 50% of what I'd be saying, and because at least then you can just get by, just as I did at the time. So one thing I noticed about being in Japan is they have a lot of stereotypes about black males, and that's because of the television, the past history of what probably happened in Japan. And there's this myth that somehow everyone, a lot of Japanese people believe that everyone in America is the same, that we're together, that there's no segregation or no racism or anything like that. So they tend to throw all of us in the pot together. They tend to say, oh, you Americans this, you Americans that. So they don't say black people this, white people that. They don't talk like that. They say if you're America, you're American. That's kind of what happens. You kind of get blamed by default, even though what happened a long time ago, but that's just how they think. So they're very narrow-minded and superficial. They kind of like pretty things. They like things that look nice, and they're very shallow-minded. That's what I would say. On the other side of the coin is that they're very open. If open to you, if you're a black male, you kind of have to get around a lot of the myths and the stereotypes. She's never talked to a black male before because of the way she probably was raised, but she'll still give you a chance as long as you don't blow it. And another thing you have to realize is most Japanese women like being first. They like being the first woman you talk to. Don't tell them that you talked to another Japanese girl before or you talked to another Asian girl before. They don't like that. That's a huge turnoff. That's the first. I think I learned that in the first 90 days. They like being on top. They like it first. It's I think it's an ego thing. So it's kind of like you can't be so aggressive either. That's another thing I learned. You gotta kind of lean back. You kind of have to sweet back them. You have to use your words. You have to form conversations. You have to be interested in Japanese culture when you first meet them. You have to be interested into them. You can't be so aggressive, and a lot of people don't understand it because living in America and talk to women anywhere, on the street, at the gas station, at the mall, anywhere. But in Japan, that's that's a turn off. I mean, this is forbidden, almost forbidden, to talk to a woman on the street unless you're asking her for some directions or something like that, and you asking for some help. And then if you approach her in a subtle way like that, then you transition that conversation into something else. But to approach a Japanese woman on the street with your intentions of just trying to talk to her directly, that doesn't work over there. A woman over there, some of them would feel embarrassed that you would approach them like that. But they're very open to black males. They're very curious about black males, and they can sometimes be fascinated by black males. You just have to kind of lean back and talk and just focus on having a good time. Just don't blow it. That's it. And you don't really, there's no pressure. Just focus on having a good time. And I had a great experience in Japan. I mean, I almost cried, to be honest. And this was the first place. This is the first time I left the United States of America, and I visit Japan to this day. The last time I went to Japan was 2010. So I still have friends that live there, and it's some of my friends that got out of the Navy. They live there, and some of them not ever going to go back to America. And I understand because you get treated over there somewhat like a king. I mean, when they cater to the guys in a way that has never happened in America, unless you're a celebrity or some form of entertainer or something like that, because the average black male can go to Japan and get treated in a way that would probably never happen in America if you're an average black male. But if you're an average black male in America, you're almost invisible. There's no place for you in America. Sad but true. But if you're above average black male in America, yeah, you get some, you'll get that, I guess, oil type treatment or whatever, or you get treated pretty well, and which is perfectly fine. But if you're an 18, 19-year-old going to Japan, I mean, you can be you, be yourself, and you can have the time of your life. That's as I did, because I'm from North Carolina. At the time, I was 20 years old. I've never been out of the country before. So it's just a different perspective on life and your experiences at the time. So, I mean, I didn't come from a wealthy family. My family wasn't, wasn't well known. I mean, my parents were well known, but my family wasn't well known in America. So, I'm just an average guy going to another country. But if, that's just how it plays out. So you can actually go to a place like Japan, have a great time, great experience, and if you choose to stay over there and get established, I would say more power to you. But you just have to learn the language, learn how to speak the language if you want to live over there, because that really impresses a woman. She knows you know how to speak. That really turns her on, and she'll really get into you much more versus just speaking English. And plus, that gives you the ability to interact with almost anybody. You can have more conversation. You'll be able to relate more and be able to understand where she's coming from and how she sees it. And then you be able to explore the culture, the Japanese culture. And you get a lot more, probably much faster in Japan, because in Japan, versus being in America, they give you a chance. See, because the thing about Japan is if they dislike you, dislike you because you're a foreigner, not because of the color of your skin. That's the thing. See, in America, if you're black, forget about it. That's just how they're gonna see you, and they're not gonna get you to change. You're not gonna even change their mind. But if you're in Japan, even though they might have their stereotypes and beliefs, but they'll also give you a chance, regardless. But if you blow it, that's on you. So that's why I say they have a different way of thinking, different perception of us, and it's something that if you play your cards right and you play it straight and don't act like a dumbass, you have a great time. It'll be a great experience. And I would highly advise every black man to visit Tokyo at least once. But I know it's a long way. I realize that, especially if you live on the East Coast in the United States of America. But it's a great place to take a vacation. It's very expensive, but if you could take at least a vacation in Tokyo, I think it'd be well worth it. Because women are very beautiful, very easy to talk to, very easygoing. But one thing I would say is the women, they have to like you. They have to be into you. They can't just be another guy to her. She has to like you. She has to be very much into you. Otherwise, you probably won't get anywhere. So that's been my experience in Japan. So if you have any questions, leave comments below. So until next time, my name is Mr. Sharp Game. And P.S. and by the way, visit my blog. It's chooseyourrelationships.com. That's chooseyourrelationships.com. So until next time, peace.